It's just about bedtime. I'm just about finished with my small amount of red wine, and flight sim test in the SM-91 is about to cause some inconvenience to the enemy team. A heavy fighter and one of the most nimble and well-armed examples in the game, sporting on top of everything else, dear God, a 20mm rear turret, just to add insult to injury for anything attempting to stand in the way of this Italian example of a destroyer. And are those dive brakes I see in the wings? I think they are. Why not have this be a dive bomber as well? In any event, Flight Sim Test is going to have a nice flight today in what is both an odd and beautiful looking aircraft that certainly stands as one of the most potentially enjoyable and financially rewarding, thank you very much, examples of a heavy fighter in the game, sat at a perfect battle rating where you tend to get the more interesting battles in War Thunder, and as I've already mentioned, armed to the teeth, highly maneuverable for a heavy fighter, with performance characteristics one is more familiar seeing in the single engine counterparts that you can face. Enemy SB-2C, a rather maneuverable dive bomber, nonetheless taken down by a highly deadly shred of ammunition from those MG-15 120 mils that the SM-91 boasts in numerous number. Still aggressively taking on the enemy, this an aircraft that you can with confidence engage in head-on engagements with the enemy. Two engines and pilots sat in the middle. A rear gun that has just gotten a kill. The aforementioned ridiculous firepower and maneuverability to salvage a situation. All of these put to good use by FST himself. Flight Sim Test in a beautiful flyout of an odd duck in the game of War Thunder. Sometimes I wonder if these highly maneuverable heavy fighters like the SM-91 have an accurate flight model, but sometimes you just gotta sit back and enjoy the aircraft that do really well. Anyway, I think I might have to take another look at Italian ground forces. It's been quite some time, and they do have some fun offerings. Dear goodness, just the disgusting power of those 20 mils on full display. It's truly terrifying. One of the things that a lot of the Italian fighters have to offer is a higher ammunition count when compared. That Spitfire just became a Seafire. I don't think the upgrade was to its advantage, though. I think there's a certain amount of assembly required for that conversion. But beside the christening of a new naval aircraft that just might multi-purpose as a submarine in a few minutes, these Italian aircraft are just so much fun. The SM-91, probably one of the most odd duck designs available to the Italians, and yet It performs so nicely. Excuse me, I'm pretty sleepy. Sorry if I've been a little bit too laid back for you all these past few days, but life has just been going pretty hard lately. And I'm really tired from the exercise I got yesterday, and I'm just a sleepy lad, that's all. It's getting toward bedtime. It's almost 11. Once again, my beautiful wife, who's very, very pregnant, has not managed to make it to bed, and she might not make it at all. The couch sort of catches her, and she goes from nap time to bedtime in one smooth transition of not moving off the couch, and I can't blame her. The woman works hard at the post office all day. And flightsimtest performing his own maneuvers to wrest victory from this Key 61, who's found himself on the tail of one of the few heavy fighters with a defensive gun. Indeed, one of the few aircraft in the game with a MG-151 turret that, as you see already, can be oh so deadly. Key 61, generally a powerful aircraft to face in terms of its maneuverability, less so with regard to its ability to take a hit, and with its only engine smoking, coughing, and sputtering, it's only a matter of time before the enemy fighter goes the way of Japanese aircraft that have taken one or two hits. One of the other downsides to the Key 61 is the armament is not fantastic. It's not terrible, but the... excuse me, I'm a tired boy. The Japanese 50 cals just don't seem to perform as well as other 50 cals in the game. Maybe it has to do with their belts, I'm not quite sure. But it's yet another example of a Japanese fighter where you really want to close, dear gory, closing the deal with his 8th kill on another transplanted Japanese fighter, FST, with 8 kills in a beautiful display of aggression and capability, and another enemy at a lower altitude. The permanent dead engine sound gets really annoying. That's a replay bug that may or may not still be in the game. I'm not quite sure. It's been a while since I recorded this one, and so I'm even more happy to share it with you all. Along that note, I'm going to try and fit 3 replays into this session, even though I'm really starting to feel sleepy now. I drank a little bit of wine mixed with a good amount of water and a little bit of grape juice for flavor, and it's been, as I mentioned, a long day. Excuse me. As FST lines up his attack run on the last remaining enemy, the girls were all over me today, as usual, and I'm just amazed at how they're growing and developing. There's baby Zoe, who is more of a toddler and less of a baby, but she still does cute baby things every now and then. She's always been interested in sharing, and she likes to feed me. So when she's eating snacks, we had some chips today. It's not the only thing we had, but I mean, we did have some chips, and she would eat a couple of chips and then like take a little bite out of one and then offer it to me. And she goes, when she wants me to take a bite. It is the cutest, most precious thing in the whole world. I absolutely love it. And then Brooklyn is 3. She's so creative. She's already a tiny YouTuber. She watches YouTube Kids in the morning when she's waking up slow in her crib. It's so great. The girl's got it so good. She just relaxes and wakes up nice and easy and watches her shows. And she really loves Ryan and Hobby Kids. And, they're not terrible. I've seen worse. Dive brakes come out. F6F goes down. The incredible firepower of SM91 finishing off this 9-kill match with a bang. Absolute insanity. And that is that. Next replay coming up shortly. And maybe I could wrap up my thoughts about Brooklyn with the fact that I'm just really proud of her. The girl's got so much charisma and capability already. Speaking of QWERTYs in a toddler tank, the Panzer II-H, definitely one of the most... it's not the Panzer II-H anymore. It's some weird German description of a scout tank that I can't properly remember. But back in my day, it was the Panzer II-H, or if you will, the baby tiger. Actually managing to bounce a shot off of the frontal armor of this tank. No small feat, as it's certainly not the most well-protected vehicle in the game of War Thunder, lacking anything more than a tarpaulin for protecting the crew from aerial attacks, and not much of an improvement in terms of armored plate, although QWERTY's demonstrating that almost nothing is not equal to 0 after all. And at this tier, things can be done. In any event, the Panzer II-H is one of those vehicles that definitely sees a lot of very capable competition, and yet it remains one of the most enjoyable and just light-hearted scout tanks in the game. It really has a lot to offer, as you can see already, mounting what is essentially the same 50mm cannon that you find on the Panzer IIIs later on, and with access even to an APCR if you'd like to experiment with having no post-penetration damage and yet a ridiculous amount of armor pen for a vehicle at this tier. And that really comes into how you can really have fun with this as a meme tank and take that APCR into higher ranked battles where the incredible amount of velocity and acceptable armor penetration capabilities can make for some fun times. But instead, we have a ridiculously fast 7 kills by QWERTYs in this somewhat low tier match, facing off against competition that is very capable, some of them mounting stabilizers and very fast firing guns, and the rest of them having the mobility and firepower to compete with the Panzer II-H, where armor penetration power is irrelevant. Even so, QWERTYs showing what top tier tactics in a lower tier match can net for the experienced War Thunder player. And definitely a certain amount of luck and lack of experience among his foes pays off as well. And don't think I didn't notice those booshes. But you know what? I always advocate for vacationing in low tier, and on top of all that, the Panzer II-H, which by the way is on serious discount. The Scout pack for War Thunder at the time of recording this video is half off, and it is one of the best buys in War Thunder in terms of the potential for fun. And just look at this unique little Scout tank. It's beautiful. It's just such a cute model, really, and I absolutely love it. I don't play mine as much as I really should, but I always have a good time when I do. It's by no means overpowered, but it's just a very capable vehicle, lacking only in gun handling and a little bit of fire rate when compared with the competition that you can find in places like the American team with their M5A1. Or is it M4? M4s and M5s. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, excuse me. Sorry for being such a tired boy. And QWERTY's finally taken down by a 20 mil, but not this 20 mil. Now we have das Schmalzes Deutsches Volk. Tiny German 26, and I probably slaughtered that German language, but you know what? I just enjoy languages even if I don't know how to speak them properly. Language is a very interesting thing to study. I don't really have the time anymore, or I should say I've devoted my time to other things. You're welcome. A big portion of that Mounted Blade Bannerlord right now, and also taking care of my girls and the various sundry ways that I find to keep this house running smoothly when my wife is not doing it all much better in her own time after pulling off a full day of work at the post office. She's been working her little tushy off lately, and I really appreciate it. Ouch. That looked like it hurt. But more low-tier action. I'm not sure what was going on with those hits into the turret of that BT whatever it is, but one more finishes off the 2 of 3 man crew for Tiny German's third kill. The incredible destructive power of German 20 mils at low tier and above needs no introduction, and for the longest time, even when I first started playing War Thunder, and of course as a new player. What's your question? What's the most OP rank 1 vehicle? And I got 2 answers. There's that Russian landship premium, didn't feel like shelling out for it, and the Panzer II. And thus, my first premium of the game, the Panzer II DAC. And the DACA is strong with this Panzer II. Indeed, it remains being one of the earliest vehicles in the game. It still remains one of the most capable at its battle rating, and a barrel of fun in any circumstance, both in the hands of a new player and a veteran to the game. The Panzer II, with its mobility, with its fantastic fire rate, its destructive and very capable 20mm cannon that can relatively easily take on anything the game can offer you at this battle rating, is one of the most enjoyable, consistent, and reliable vehicles in the game to this day, and as I mentioned, it needs no introduction. But as things wind down for the third replay of the night, and I still haven't managed to fall asleep at my post yet, you're welcome. These last few battles have just been so nostalgic for me. The SM-91, definitely an aircraft I would love to get back to playing. Such an odd duck and powerful as well. A fun combination. The Panzer II-H, or whatever it is now. The German Scout Tank Original. Currently on sale as of the time I'm making this video. And the Panzer II, followed up by a early model Panzer III with, what is that, the 40mm cannon, something like that. I could be mistaken. Could be the lower velocity 50mm. I'm not quite sure how those things work out, but a pew pew gun as opposed to, oh yeah, what is that? Looks like a lower velocity 50mm if I'm correct. I could be wrong. Anyway, in all areas appropriate for this tier, showing off the very well balanced capabilities of German tanks at low tier. And Tiny German, with his aggressive and successful gameplay, both capturing the zone and taking down his foes, really making the case for playing Germany as a new player. There are a lot of nations that can do well at low tier in the hands of experienced or inexperienced players, but I started with Germany and I definitely didn't regret that decision. There were a lot of hurdles for me as a new player, a lot I didn't know, but I was able to make a certain measure of success. I was especially excited for the power of the Panzer II, as I recall. And it's all been a learning process from there. The American muscle on display, and yet our guy getting the support from his team that he needed to make this an 8-kill match already, along with a couple of base caps. No, a 9-kill game, sitting at 1 death and 2 base caps to boot. Even an assist picked up somewhere in this process. A high intensity, aggression fueled adventure on a single capture map, a classic map in the game of War Thunder that has seen a few reworks that definitely help. Especially the more rolling terrain added to the center of the map, giving more breaks in line of sight between the two spawn points, which is definitely appreciated by me. It's so interesting that the nostalgia is strong tonight. Oh my goodness, and getting taken down by superior German firepower is something that I can definitely relate to in all of my days of playing War Thunder, but this map has been around since I first started playing the game, and people are still having incredible matches on it today. The sights, the sounds, the capabilities of this game have grown and grown, along with an incredible list of vehicles that have been added since tanks became a part of this game. But the Panzer III, the Panzer II, ages-old staples of tank-on-tank combat found in the game of War Thunder, and still delightful and rewarding to play even to this day. For someone who is clearly a fan of German vehicles, and by the way, Tiny German, I've been loving the Lego builds you've been posting on the Discord. If you all would like to see some of that, he posts those on the War Thunder Reddit, and, as I mentioned, on the Toshio Thunder Discord. There's a link in the description of this video for any of you that would like to get in touch with me, to send in your replays there, or to engage with lovely community members like the people who've submitted replays here and myself. Our number one rule is be kind, and my goal with the Discord community is just to make a nice place that people can look forward to going and connecting with each other there. And I've been spending a little bit less time on the Discord lately because running Discord is not compatible with playing Mount and Blade Bannerlord, and I'm just starting to be a little bit less obsessed with that game than I've been over the past few weeks. I'm starting to get my life back in order. But I think these moments of reckless abandon as I explore my passions is also one of the things that helps me to define my art. No, I'm not just making excuses for my depravity. I mean, it's not the only thing I'm doing. But here, Tiny German picks up his 12th kill in this tank RB match here on this delightful low-tier game in a vehicle that's not generally, to my knowledge, considered to be overpowered compared with the German 20mm that can be sometimes a bit controversial. I kind of love the fact that it has those dual coaxial machine guns as well. That's a somewhat rare sight in the game, and these early design decisions are a little bit interesting and just fun. Anyway, I hope you found this video to be the same, and a reminder, there is a link to the Discord in the description where you can send in your own replays or connect with me and the lovely Toshio Thunder community. I love you guys. Catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.